Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kayla and today we are going to attempt to turn this dress and this dress into a Padme costume. Wish me luck. Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I am doing a thrift flip. I am taking this sort of spandex blue to darker blue fade dress and this pink dress here, and we are going to attempt to make a Padme Halloween costume. This is in partnership with Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia, so thank you so much to them for working with me. And actually, before we get any further into the video, let's take a moment to chit chat a little bit about them and why I love Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia so much. Why, hello. It is no secret that I'm a big fan of thrifting. Probably over 70% of my wardrobe is thrifted, including the sweater right here. And my personal favorite place to thrift is at Goodwill. Now, I'm located here in Central Virginia, so I am particularly a fan of the Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia stores. Y'all know that sustainability is something I really value, and while I'm not perfect at it, I really try to implement as much sustainability in my life as I can, and a big part of that is buying the majority of my clothes secondhand. Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia stores have over 49,000 pieces on every sales floor, with more than 2,000 pieces being added daily. So really the potential for buying secondhand goods is boundless. Actually, almost every single frame on this wall from the Goodwill. It's also fantastic for all of the DIYers and thrift flippers out there. Y'all know I'm a big fan of thrift flips, particularly when it comes to cosplaying and also home decor. When it comes to cosplays and Halloween costumes and things like that, sometimes those pieces can get really, really expensive, but with a little bit of creativity and a little bit of ingenuity, you can put together a really banging outfit for a fraction of the price. Plus, you're being sustainable, and with every purchase, you are helping to support your local communities. Goodwill is a mission-driven organization, which is one thing that I really appreciate about it. Particularly, Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia works to empower people through work. So with every donation or every item that you purchase there, you're able to help support their initiatives that go towards helping people find work and better themselves. So next time you guys are in the Central or Coastal Virginia areas, don't forget to check out your local Goodwill stores. You can also follow their YouTube channel. I will leave it linked down below, where they are sharing a ton of fun content all about their stores, their mission, DIYs, home decor, and more. So thanks again to Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia for sponsoring this video. And don't forget, by supporting Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia, you're helping to empower people through work. Okay, let's move back into the DIY. Okay, my friends. So I thrifted these two dresses last week, and before we get into the sort of construction, let's flash back to last week when I actually picked these up at the thrift. I'm gonna look and see if I can find something that will work for a Padme Amidala outfit or for a Arwen outfit. I have a gut feeling that if I do Padme, it's gonna have to be something I'm gonna end up dyeing. So I might have to find like a white dress or a purple one, and then like bleach part of it and then turn it yellow, and I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure that out. So let's start sifting. If you want it to be Barbie, that's a great option. That's an even better option. This is actually a quite cute dress. Okay, this is not the right color scheme, but this is basically what Padme's dress is doing. Hers is just yellow into actually these colors, like these purples and blues and pinks like this. I honestly might hold on to this in case I need to full on like DIY this, but I feel like this is the perfect fade. I'm gonna pull up a picture of that dress actually. Okay, yeah, so, oh my gosh, the bottom is perfect. So that's the kind of color scheme. The bottom is perfect. I know it's not like a lot of dress, but I think I'm gonna hold on to it. I think I might be able to like bleach and dye the top yellow and then get like some tulle to add to it. We're gonna try something with this. This honestly could be a massive flop, but I don't know, I feel confident. I don't know why I do, but I do. The back part here, I think I'm gonna have to buy some fabric to just figure that bit out, but as an underdress kind of situation, that might work. Part of me is also wondering if maybe I can do something with this. This dress is in pretty rough condition, like there's a lot of staining on it, and I'm just wondering if maybe I can give it new life. Okay, I'm gonna take a skim through the fabric, see if I can find some sort of tulle material, something that probably will dye, unless it's already that sort of butter yellow or purple or pink color, because I feel like I can make any of that work. Yeah, let's see if we can find anything. My thoughts on this dress is that it is the perfect base for this look. There are a few key differences here, so let me walk you through them. One, the fade of Padme's dress is actually yellow to pink to purple, and this is light blue to a kind of white color to pink to purple to navy blue. Now, the pink to navy blue situation, I'm keeping. The top, I think I'm gonna try to dye a sort of butter yellow, which means I'm gonna have to do a bleach treatment and then neutralize it and then try to dye it with some synthetic dye. Spandex is a little bit more complicated to dye, but we're going to do our very best to try to do it. The second biggest difference is that this is not a halter neck and Padme's dress is. I think this should actually be pretty easy to figure out because she's got a pretty massive silver necklace right in the front. So in theory, I should be able to kind of just tie these pieces together here and make it work. The next difference is that this dress has some ruching and it's also a bodycon, whereas Padme's dress is not. So I'll be taking this ruching out and then I'm hoping that one, it'll let the dress out a little bit, and two, it'll make it a little bit longer. Well, it will definitely make it a little bit longer. So we'll see kind of what that does to the shape, and pulling these seams out should be pretty easy. And to be honest, I actually think that's going to be my first step. And then next I will be taking this dress, which is so freaking pretty. And I do feel a little bit weird about cutting into it, but as I mentioned last week, it has seen better days. It has, particularly in the front, quite a bit of staining, which I'm sure is a little bit complicated to see on camera, but like here, there's stains kind of all throughout. So I'm going to try to use this tulle material here for the sort of big draping around the sleeves and on the back of her dress. We got a lot of dyeing to do. So this is kind of my rough idea of what the dress is going to turn out looking like. It's not an exact replica, but I feel like it is really recognizable. If you are a fan of the prequels or the Star Wars franchise, you will see this dress and you will know I am Padme. So, I guess let's just jump into it. So like I said, we're gonna start with seam ripping all of the ruching on the sides. So let's get to that. Okay. I'm not really sure that it let the dress out any, but it definitely made it longer, which is good because Padme's dress actually has a train. Now, I'm not gonna have enough material to do like a full-blown train, but this helps, I think. So off to the store we go to pick up some bleach and dye. I just got back from the store. I picked up some bleach and then some purple and yellow dye. I didn't really feel like I needed pink dye because this fabric's already pink and the other fabric already has the pink. So before I get into bleaching and everything, I'm actually gonna start cutting and seam ripping the tulle material off of the lining on this dress here. I've been here for a million years and I finally have all of the sheer material seam ripped off. I was just like messing around with it a little bit and I think this will do for the bow. Obviously I'm gonna like finish the edges and like put it together more neatly, but I feel like this will do for the bow in the back. Then I have this large panel here. It's kind of actually the entire skirt. And then there's like a couple of extra layer pieces in here that I can use for the draping in the back and for the sleeves. I also picked up some white satin material, because as I was looking at the inspiration picture, I realized that there's like a little strip of white satin connecting the halter top to the sleeve, and I figure if I need additional fabric, then I can also use some of that too. I can dye it if I need to. I picked up synthetic dye, so that should work. So yeah, it is a little after 5, so I think I'm gonna call it a day. So it feels like maybe not a lot of progress, but it is quite a bit of progress. And then tomorrow morning, bright and early, we are gonna get to dyeing the material and then figuring out the draping of everything. Yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow. Hello my friends, good morning. Today we are in the business of bleaching and dyeing. So I have this bucket here. I've put some water, not like a ton, and then I'm going to mix in some bleach and get to bleaching the top bit of this dress here. So I'll probably just hit right around here. And then I have the tulle skirt, and I'm going to just bleach the top half of this. Update? The bleach did literally nothing. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and dye them. I even soaked them for like an hour in undiluted bleach and it did nothing. So don't ask me, bro. So anyway, I'm not worried about it. I'm a little worried about it. We'll see what happens. We're playing this by ear. So I'm going to mix up the yellow dye first, do the top half of the garments, and then I will mix up the purple and do the bottom of this section here. And then we can finally start figuring out how we're going to be assembling this dress. Okay, so actually, the yellow on the pink is looking fine. It is orangey, but it's pink. Now, the yellow on this looks good here in the white section. Totally green on the top, which is what I expected, but I'm going to let this simmer for quite some time to see if we can get it to dye over it. I don't know, we're gonna see. I can't believe the bleach didn't work. The dye is taking so well. Okay, so I've decided I want to let the fabric sit for a little longer, and in the meantime I want to work on some of the accessories. So firstly, I need the necklace. I am going to use polymer clay to make the necklace. I'm familiar with the medium. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp about how I can make something like that out of polymer clay, and so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I will probably just make like long layers for the necklace and then a chain in the back to attach it. So it won't necessarily be the exact same necklace, but from the front it will definitely look the same, and it's more practical to have it with a chain on it. The second thing I need to make is her headband. So in some photos she's wearing it and in others she's not. I thought that it kind of tied the look together a bit more, so basically I need a little headband to go around my head this way, and then two little, they look almost like earmuffs. So I actually picked up 2 of the top knot bun rollers, and I want to use those. I'll just cover them in some fabric. I have some black velvet I'm going to cover them in, and then I will take some embroidery thread and sort of twine it together to look like rope, and then layer that over top as well. So that's kind of the plan. Alright, so this is what I'm gonna do. I actually have a ton of just leftover clay that's all kind of gotten mixed up, and it doesn't really matter what color I'm gonna be using because I'm gonna be covering it with this silver mica powder anyway. So I'm literally just going to mix all of these clays together and make use of my clay scraps. So yeah, run them through my clay machine over here and start rolling it out and just cutting out the shapes. The inspiration picture, it basically shows like a larger part at the top and a larger part at the bottom, and then smaller pieces. They're kind of just like kidney bean shaped, so I really just need to Honestly, I'll probably like lay them on my literal skin just to get like the bend and shape of them right, and then go from there. So yeah, shouldn't really be that difficult. And now that I've said that, it's probably gonna be incredibly challenging. But yeah, I think it should be not too hard. So yeah, let's get into it. So in case I haven't already said this was a project that I did the hard way, but I'm going to explain to you the easy way to do it. So the first thing that I did here was I rolled out some polymer clay, and on first attempt, I cut out some U shapes and just attached them together. This didn't actually end up working because the pieces ended up detaching once I tried lifting them. So then I tried it again, and this time I just made one giant piece that would act as a backing piece, and then I would lay all of the layered pieces on top of that. This worked okay until it got to the baking process. Because the clay was so thick and I was trying to have it curved, it did snap in the oven. So I would recommend using thinner layers of clay if you are going to use polymer clay. But more than that, I would actually recommend using craft foam. Honestly, just use foam, or you can even do it with thin sheets of metal, like crafting metal, and I think you would have better luck, and it would be way less time consuming, because I ended up having to make this necklace 3 times. If you do decide to use polymer clay, as I said, first and foremost, use thinner layers. And secondly, I like to add metallic sheens to my polymer clay with mica powder. Now, you can apply it with a paintbrush like I'm doing here, but to be fair, the best way to apply this is with your finger. And later, once I have sort of loosely coated all of the surface, I do use my finger to fully blend it in. You can put mica powder on wet or baked clay, but I tend to like to put it on before it is baked. Hello, my friends. It is day 3 of this project. Yesterday I had a friend emergency and ended up having to go out of town. So it is now about 2:30 in the afternoon. I just got home a little while ago and we got some things to do. So I dyed some additional fabric. It's currently in the washing machine. I picked up some like satin material because after looking at the fabric, I realized there's just a lot of draping in that dress. So I picked up an additional, I think 2 yards of material and dyed it. The satin looks similar to the spandex because the spandex has like a little bit of a sheen to it. So I think those will kind of blend well together. The tulle is a different story. I think I'm probably mostly just gonna use that for the back, for like the bow section in the back. But for now, while I'm waiting for the rest of the fabric to finish washing and drying, I figure I can work on another accessory. So yesterday I made the sort of pendant for the necklace, and really I just have to drill some holes and put some chains around it so that I can actually put it on. And now today I am gonna be making her headpiece. So I picked up these like, you know, like the top knot bun rollers. I picked up these 2, they came together, and I'm actually going to be cutting out some circles out of some black fabric. This is just a black velvet that I have. I'm gonna use the top of my Rose Forever New York City bouquet as my template. I'm literally just gonna cut out a circle and then I'll put some stitches around the outside and pull it taut. So that's what we're going to do here. So let's jump into it. Now that I have this more manageable strip, I'm just going to cut out the circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm actually going to cut this into 2 squares, actually. And that will make it, again, even more manageable. I just have a lot of excess fabric here. Okay, so now we have this smaller bit of fabric. I'm just going to fold her in half and hope that this fits. It does. Perfection. So yeah, then I'm just gonna cut the circle out and then I'll show you guys how I'm gonna sew this up. I have to tell you, this is actually a really simple technique. So the first thing you want to do is cut out 2 circles that are a little over 2 times the width in circumference of whatever it is that you're wrapping. Then you literally are just going to take a needle and thread and create a line of basting stitches all around the edge. It's okay if it gathers a little bit while you're doing this. That happened for me just because I was trying to not overuse thread if I could help it. And once you have a line of basting stitches all the way around the perimeter of the circle, you are just going to pull it taut. It's going to create this little pocket in which you can then stick your bun holder.
This is actually exactly how you can make earmuffs as well. Obviously, you wouldn't want to use a top knot holder, but you could totally make your own earmuffs by using this technique. Okay, and as I'm sitting here looking at this footage, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, you can also make your own custom pumpkin decorations. You know, those fabric pumpkins you can buy in the dollar section at Target? You could totally make them this way and then just put like a little stem made of air dry clay or whatever you would like on the top where the little hole is. Perfect. To secure this little donut, I just threw in some stitches all the way around the perimeter of the inner circle because there is a slight opening right in the middle, and I just wanted to make sure it was as close as I could get it.
We have our little ear donuts. Now the next thing I need to do is to take some embroidery thread and twist it into little diamonds like netting and just lay it over top. So I'm gonna go and grab that, and then I will just tie all of the ends together in the back and then try to tuck it in. There is still a slight opening in here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but my hope is to be able to tuck all of the loose strings in here. Obviously I will put a line of stitching to make sure they're all in place, but to like tuck them in if I can, and that way it'll be still comfortable on the ear. It's not gonna be like overwhelming. Also, this is low-key how you make your own earmuffs.
This part is so funny. I literally tried 3 different techniques to try to figure out how to make the netting. I started by tying 2 pieces of string together and creating little knots so that I could then attach them to other strings, and that was just messy and it didn't look great. Then I made an entire weaving board and I tried to weave the fabric together, and that was also really messy. So then I finally just landed on, what if I just wrapped it around this donut? And that was 1, the easiest way to do it, and 2, the best looking way to do it. So simply put, just wrap it around the little donut and then throw in a few stitches where needed to secure it in place.
Okay, it is the final day for this project. It has to get done today. So let me show you the bits and pieces we have and explain to you what needs to get done. Firstly, I have the little pendant. I think I need to shave this down to kind of round it a little bit more and then just attach the chain. That should honestly take no more than 30 minutes. We also have the little earmuff situation. So basically I just need to attach these to a black headband. Easy enough. Then for the dress, the difficult part. So we have many options here. We have this tulle, which I think I'm gonna use for the train. We have this fabric here, which dyed kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie, but it's okay because it's just like gonna be drapey. And also all of the purple dye came out, which totally fine because it's gonna be draping and it's also going to be lifted, so you will see the purple and blue on the bottom of this dress here. I think I just need to try it on and figure out sort of where everything needs to go, so let's do that. Okay, so here's this dress, and now what I'm thinking I'm gonna do with this fabric here, I am going to sew on a piece of just white satin on the top and then create it so it like closes in the back, and that way it'll be like the halter kind of situation. And then the white should follow this piece all the way down as well.
Okay, so I drew out a diagram of how I made the outer shell of this dress. So before I dyed the fabric, I actually cut off 2 long strips of the white just to leave it undyed because there is a line of white fabric around the top of this dress. So the first thing I did was sew on the thicker band of white fabric. I put the fabric facing right sides together and sewed along the top. I then flipped it out and then rolled all of the edges and did a rolled hem. After I had done the rolled hem, I flipped the white fabric in half, putting it wrong sides together, and then sewed the top bit closed, doing a technique called stitching in the ditch, which is essentially what you would do if you were sewing on a waistband for pants or a skirt. So the parameters for this are in the center. That is where we are going to be sewing on the second piece of white fabric, and that is just to create the tie strap so that I can create that halter effect. Then at the very ends of the white fabric, I measured the width of my bicep, which was about 13 inches, and then I measured out from the very end of the fabric 13 inches in, and then folded that fabric wrong sides together and put a small line only in this white section of the fabric. I did the same thing on the other side to create arm cuffs so that I can slip my arm in, creating a sort of halter top shawl.
Okay, so here is our satin panel. This is, like I said, gonna be like the shawl section in the front. I've also sewn a little tube here and marked the center of the larger panel. So I'm gonna mark the center of this, which is right about there, and then pin these two pieces together. Then this will fold up, and voila. That will make the sort of halter top situation. Then I also need to go in and connect parts of the end so I can slip my arm through it like a pseudo sleeve. So that is what we are up to next.
Instead of keeping it as a shawl, I actually decided to go ahead and close up the back, but not fully. So I only sewed the back from the bottom to about the midway point, and that way it was still oversized and really easy to get in. I didn't have to worry about installing a zipper, and it took away less fabric from the front, which we really wanted to have that sort of a draping effect. In terms of the organza fabric, I was initially planning to use it to make a train or some sort of outer skirt, but that just was not going to work. I tried it, I even sewed it all together and just hated how it looked. And what I realized after deconstructing it and consulting with my mom was that actually if I just wore it as a shawl, it would create that sort of draping look in the front that I felt like was missing, because Padme's dress is just so full. There is a lot of fabric, and I just did not have as much fabric as she did for her dress. So by throwing in that shawl, it reintroduced the purple back to the front, since the purple dye had come out of the satin material, and it also just created that additional draping that I think honestly pulled the whole look together. So simply put, getting one of those lightweight sheer scarves or just a handful of organza fabric, or even like I did, upcycling an organza based dress and dyeing it in the color scheme you need, is a perfect option for making a shawl to create a bit more drama and layering to a look.
Okay, this is what we have going so far. I actually think this is turning out pretty good. So I'm gonna sew up the back bit here. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's like an overdress, I guess you could say. It's like kind of shawl-esque.
At this point, I really still had no idea what I was going to be doing with that organza material. But what I ended up doing was making a small bow to sew on the back, and then I used the rest of the material, as I said, as a shawl to drape over my arms. And here, my friends, is the final reveal. And that concludes this project. Overall, I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out. Now, obviously there's a lot I would do differently. Starting with the necklace, it just did not do what I needed it to do. I'm actually quite pleased with the overdress, but obviously I would add the purple dye back in at the bottom, which I might actually still do. That's easy enough for me to still do. And I would probably actually sew it up a little bit further up the back. I feel like it could stand to be sewn closed a little bit more. The underdress worked perfectly. It did exactly what I needed it to. It added a little bit of length. It also added that coverage in the back because obviously this dress has an open back and Padme's does not. And actually, I'm quite pleased with the shawl as well. I think had I known that's how I was going to be using it, I probably would have just dyed the whole fabric purple. But obviously, I initially had planned to use it as a train until I realized that wasn't going to work because honestly, the fabrics just didn't really mesh well. The organza with the satin, it wasn't doing what I needed it to do. So I'm happy with how I ended up using all of these pieces, and honestly, this project was truly a testament to what you can create with just a little bit of creativity, ingenuity, and problem-solving skills. An overall theme that I learned here is that I really need to plan more thoroughly for projects like this. Almost every single time I do a big costume sewing project, I kind of wing it. I just kind of look at the thing and I'm like, now how can I make this thing look like this thing? And just, it's the roll of the dice. And I just wing it. And that is what I did here. But I'm thinking maybe if I spent more time in the planning phase, I would save time in the doing something to try it out and then having to undo it and redo it a different way, which I definitely did so very many times with this project. With all that in mind, like I said, I'm actually still pretty happy with how this turned out. I mean, from the front, this costume, it works. I love it from the front. And the headband, I'm really happy with how that turned out. And Padme wears that for several different outfits, so it's also versatile. I can use it for other costumes, which is going to be really great, especially since I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. I think it'd be an interesting challenge. I'm not sure that I'm like quite there yet, but I think it would be an interesting challenge to see if at some point I could make a screen accurate version of this dress. There's something to garments and sort of movie costumes that are just really intricate and detailed, because they have to be when they're on screen, and so it's just a level of sewing I'm not quite used to, and so I think this one definitely stretched my problem-solving skills, ingenuity, creativity, and all of that. But I was really happy for the experience and really glad I got to make this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Honestly, I did this the hard way, so you didn't have to. Anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. So thank you again to Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia. Like I said, I'll leave their YouTube channel linked down below if you guys want to check them out. You can also check them out on Instagram. I follow them over there, and we'll actually be collaborating over the next couple of months for some more DIY Halloween costume and just sort of Halloween and autumn content in general. So head over there, follow them, check out those posts as you see them. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's totally free and I'll let you know when I upload new videos. Now, I don't do a ton of DIYs, but I like to sprinkle them in, especially during the holiday seasons. But I am always making new and fun fashion content, everything from thrifting with me's to fashion aesthetic explorations to styling videos and more. I hope you guys are all doing so very well. Don't forget, it costs absolutely nothing to be kind, so be kind to yourself and others. I'll see you next time. Bye!